Hey there, Coach Adam here, and today I'm going to talk to you about technique and how it relates to intensity. Now, it's likely that you've heard how important technique or form is for two things. One, for preventing injuries, and two, for making sure that you're efficient in your movement and you're not wasting energy. Now, if you know me at all, you know that technique is super important. I've actually been called certain names in the past relating to my focus on technique and my unwillingness to waver from that, and that may not be 100% necessary. So what we try to follow here, and what I like to coach on, is we follow the paradigm of work on mechanics, then work on making those mechanics consistent, then and only then add intensity. So mechanics, consistency, then and only then intensity. Now, mechanics refers to exactly that. How your body's moving relative to the best way for your body to move safely and efficiently. So here are two examples of a squat. The squat is the most basic movement we teach. It's probably the most important movement that you'll practice in your fitness. So here you see an example of me doing a squat that, in my opinion, is pretty good. I'm working hard to get there. It doesn't mean that it's perfect, but it's pretty good. And then the second one here, in my opinion, is not so nice, and it needs a lot of work. But how do I start to find that balance between mechanics and moving quickly so that I get intensity? If you were watching the last couple videos, you know that intensity is super important for me to get results. So if I'm just working really hard on my technique but moving slow and never getting any intensity, I'm not going to get a whole lot of results. A quick note on mechanics before we move on to consistency and intensity is that there's a couple ways of doing this, right? Number one is go find yourself a really good coach who's going to be able to teach you those mechanics and watch you practice them and give you coaching and correction as you go along. Option number two is watch a lot of videos, film yourself, and compare yourself. Ideally, you're able to pick up little nuances of the movement and improve them as you go. Now, once you know the technique and you've got those mechanics down, you want to be able to do them consistently, right? It's not I did it once really well and then they all fell apart, but I want to be able to do it consistently well. So I want to try to find a balance now between starting to go faster and making sure that my mechanics are sound. So to work on that balance and making sure that you're improving your technique while still adding intensity and getting fit, I like to use an example of, say, someone that competes in a sport that requires accuracy and needs to move fast. So we'll use an example of a competitive shooter. Their goal is to take a certain number of shots, have them be a certain accuracy, but also do them at a certain speed, right? The score in those types of things is a combination of your time and your accuracy. So I'm going to show a couple examples here. Here's two examples of 10 shots taken at a target, and these are not real shots, I'm just making this up. But the first target, as you can see here, all of the shots are off of the target. They're kind of all over the place. There's really no accuracy happening here. And what you can say about that person is that they're going too fast for their current technique. They're not able to rein it in enough to get those shots in the target, and they need to slow down. The second example here is a person who's put all their shots right in the center and their technique is excellent. However, their time is likely slower than it should be, or slower than they could be. As you can see, their score is almost perfect. So what we want to do is we want to find a balance. So if you look at this third example, the shots are pretty accurate, but they're not perfect. So this person is working at a pace, at a speed that they're able to work on their technique, but it's not so good that they're obviously going too slow, and they're obviously not going so fast that the shots are all over the place. And this is the way that I like to think about coaching under intensity. So I want you to push the pace enough that you're getting intensity, but not so fast that your technique is degrading. So that's where the importance of having a coach comes in here, because it's hard to know with yourself Am I over that line and my technique is deteriorating, or am I going so slow and making sure that my technique is perfect, but I'm not getting any intensity out of the workout? So I hope that's given you some insight into, when it's right to push the pace, when it's right to slow down a little bit in order to get the best technical results and the best fitness results. Next video, I'm going to be talking about overall health. I hope you'll join me.